Big questions here as we dive in. Best way to find out is just to dive into it and to see what exactly happens. Top left is Maru, bottom right is Trigger. Basilisk versus Onsyde Gaming resumes right here and right now. Getting this one underway. Of course, this series could be a little bit of a preview of a potential grand finals of this league when it comes to those playoffs. One of these teams, based on today's result, will start in the grand finals. The other will start in the semi-finals. So there's a pretty good chance that this is just a look ahead to our tournament finals as well. Very exciting. Very exciting indeed. Setting ourselves out, guys, getting this going, waiting to see what happens. For the moment, it's nothing too out of the ordinary. Our initial setup looks pretty regular, pretty standard. First couple of moments at least. Is on the way out, and Maru just getting ready to take his expansion in the next couple of moments. Just trying to get that up and ready to roll. X is going down as we speak as well. It's just bringing that through. Reaper continues out down to the south. Yeah, Twilight Council going to drop down as well. It's just bringing that through for a couple of moments. And again, just a lot of getting set, a lot of getting ready in our first few minutes of this game. Adept going to pop out, going to continue towards the upper left-hand corner as well. So it's going to go journeying a little bit over there as we have ourselves the Twilight Council coming through. The Warp Gate is a building as well. All this getting set up right now. As we have our Stalker just there to push the Reaper away for a few more moments. And again, our Adept is going to chill out with a couple of Marines popping, and it's just going to try and get something done over on this side. Try and poke around for a little bit of early damage. Now going to shade back through to the center of the map again, though. As our Robo facility is continuing up, probes are pulled to help deal with the current harassment of the Reaper in the main base, which is getting perfect scan, while also just, like I say, being a bit of a nuisance. It's definitely not a bad start. And just going to be seeing again our Blink coming up, the Robo facility coming through, all of this coming out for a moment. Blink is going to be the choice then. Obviously that was kind of an expectation, I guess, off the Twilight Council. Mine's coming through, again blinking the orbs coming out. Marines, the bunker, a couple of tech labs all getting set here. Maru is going to have himself a Raven on the way. Just all of his tech in general starting to take a pretty standard kind of track. Indivac is going to come boosting by. 3 Widow Mines are going to begin unloading these probes. Now have to pull away as we do get the first connection to the assimilator. Second connection gets 1 probe. The third Widow Mine unburrows and reburrows and should just commit here because the observer's showing up. Of course, Maru didn't necessarily know that. He does evacuate 2 workers, however, so he does keep this kind of going a little bit more in his favor for a little while. Be able to get that set up for now too. Robo Bay coming in. Nexus is going to be finishing shortly. All of that out as our Blink just finishing up. A couple of assimilators coming by. Siege tank coming in. And +1 attack coming in as well. Stalkers, wander over the left. The Observer coming through as the Robo Base still coming up. A couple of gates and the charge all building up as well. Stalker's still chilling out on the top. The Colossus coming out. The Auto Turret goes in. A couple of probes will begin to drop. L2 probes pretty much immediately. Nice little catch on those. Still seeing again the extended thermal lens. The Colossus, the Stalker. All of that continues into play for the moment. There's another Auto Turret wants to come around the back. The Widowmine's going to try and dive in. There you go. That's going to be a big connection. Trigger pulls 8 on the first one, 3 on the second. That was a nasty little Widowmine drop as we do see this Stalker over there. Is apparently fighting an Auto Turret or so. Trigger just taking a lot of damage. It's going to be very difficult to recover from. That's the kind of damage that you're generally not really, I guess not meant to recover from is a pretty fair statement, to be fair, right? Like, that's just a lot of hits you just took. Nothing else. It's going to be difficult, as we do see. Oh, we intend to move over this side. Stalkers get a little grab, but like I say, a lot of work to still be done on the moment as our Stalkers pull back once again. A few Marines coming over. Maru on this push that is likely to be pretty deadly. We'll see if the one Colossus can maybe be a bit of a saving grace, can maybe be the the way to survive here is we do just have our tanks continue to push on through. And sieged up. We're going to be seeing the Zealots and Stalkers taking a little bit of damage. The tanks are just pre-split. Trigger sends a couple of units around the top side, prepping to try and survive this. Super Battery is already active though and already putting in work, which means that it's going to be fading away before too long, and we've got tanks still advancing closer and closer. Super Battery now gone. Colossus is generally going to be in trouble now, especially if they start taking any amount of tank shots. You can take a lot of hits very quickly. As the Bio knocks down that battery now, picking its way through this Nexus. So it's going to start charging through. Bio will stim. A lot of Zealots taking a lot of damage. The Colossi doing what they can. The Zealots are going to finally show up from the other side. Took a little while. Surprised the tanks are not target fighting the Colossus at the moment. We do get rid of the first now, but it's actually active for a very long time, and Maru has to just get out of there. That should turn into a pretty okay fight for a little bit. But Trigger, if he had kept that one Colossus alive before it got targeted down, would have been amazing. Obviously that didn't just quite happen in the end, as the tank will lift back into the medevac. It will pull us back over the left-hand side instead. Army just sat out the front here, just going to see a few more Zealots coming around the edges, coming around the sides. We have a +1 armor upgrade coming in. Medevacs, Marauders, and Marines continue to produce. And Maru is only just now settling onto his third base, so again, that's something which is maybe not as good as it initially seemed. Stalkers move out onto the map from Trigger as well, so they're just going to start getting to the other side. So the Marine gonna tread all over the World Team League logo. What's that, Terrence? Have no respect? Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. What's new? Good talk though. We do have ourselves the forge coming down. A couple of cannons setting up. Maru is gonna be having Trigger kind of was wandering around the center of the map a little bit. In the end, doesn't really commit through to doing anything of the sorts, but was for a couple of moments perhaps a little scary as to what was perhaps about to happen, in case there was something aggressive about to take place or so. I was going to catch a few of these Stalkers. So it's just the Stalkers kind of giving some map control. There's a little bit of a kind of a drop size push out from Maru as well, just again see if there's anything up for grabs. Answer right now really is there isn't. Nothing much is going on at all, in fact. As our Bioforce sits here and continues to just trade out for a few more moments. Bios are going to go into the center once again, just a little bit. And does Maru want to push out next? If he wants to be the one pushing out next, I would generally assume so. Typically that is the Terran sort of perspective. Hey, I want to be the aggressor. I want to be the one up in the face of my opponent. Trigger is just taking base after base, man. This is looking like a pretty reasonable situation for him starting out, honestly. He kind of feels like he got through the tougher part of this game, and now, like I say, is perhaps looking to be on the better side of things. Army still collecting together on the top side. The Vikings still coming through as well. The engineering bay is still coming out. And a lot of those little bits and pieces still into action here as our extra CCs are coming up. Maru definitely entering a much more macro-focused stage of this game. He is going all-out production mode on those CCs, so he absolutely has a bit of belief as to what his next step is going to look like. And he obviously, like I say, is going to be pretty macro-oriented. The next few moments is our Bioforce gathering. Army in the center of the Protoss as well. This is also Trigger, who's maybe feeling as though he has a chance to poke forward and see if there's openings for him to take advantage of. So we'll see if that leads to anything for him in the next little while. For the moment, I don't think there's much you can do. I mean, Maru's set up defensively. Maybe as Maru starts to take more bases, there's going to be more of an opportunity there, more of an opening, more something you can actually get done. I think until that happens, that's very much so a situation of just sort of sitting and waiting. Disruptors can obviously fire up a ramp, and they will get rid of the Sense Tower, which is always cute, because now you've got a little bit less vision as Maru. Now you do not know as easily what's coming your way, so that is a fantastic little moment, honestly. You take those. The army of Trigger coming back down to the bottom left. Because I'm not able to get in. The Great Wall of Missile Turrets says no. No access granted for this one. Yep, well, not really much you can do about that other than just accept their entry requirements, which is sacrifice. There's, oh, Colossus! You're not meant to be the sacrifice, the prison was. That was a joke as well, Trigger. Don't take it seriously. Don't give your units up. That was obviously just a little nasty. A little bit of a EMP fiasco over there as well. Going to make things a little bit difficult for Trigger for a couple of moments, as now his army is kind of hurt, and I would generally say this is not the moment to move back forward. Surely this is where you at least try and force your opponent to make another round of EMPs onto you. Right now it feels as though pushing into that is kind of bonkers, but he is going to try and go from two angles at least, so there's some method to the madness. He blinks on this bunker, looks to take that out initially. Fire Force will stem across, there's a little bit of an answer. Results in those Stalkers taking some damage. Vikings are there, Colossi taking a lot of hits just to start us out as well. It's just going to be coming through with that, just going to be seeing the Colossi going down. Maru, again, defensive position, didn't ever really feel like he was going to be in trouble here, but Trigger really felt like he had something, man. Trigger is rich, to be fair, as well, so maybe this is more so than just, hey, I've got a crap ton of money, let's actually make use of it. Let's actually trade out, because then I can take an advantage, because you do not have a crap ton of money in comparison. So in that theory, I'm actually a little bit more on board with what we're seeing. In that regard, I actually think this actually may be pretty nice, as we see a massive DT is going to start harassing around, so Trigger has opened up his supply to be able to make a move with this, and, well, if Trigger takes a map off Maru, that's really going to undo some of the work that we maybe didn't expect to happen from Ryung against Raynor, and then we really maybe have a series back on our hands. Trigger is absolutely in killer position, man. He's on 200 supply. Yeah, he's on 200 supply. I mean, he is absolutely kind of where you're meant to be. Trigger is gaming here in the PVTs. 2-0 recently, looking very good in this first map against Maru. It's not done until it's done, of course, when you're talking about Maru, but, you know, it's definitely one of the better setups you're going to have. It's definitely one of the better setups you're going to get a hold of, so take what you can and run with it. Maru continues to play defensively. This is why I'm kind of being a little cautious, though, because Maru's defensive game is so good. Like, he can sit back and delay and deny and buy time as much as he needs to. Like, he is very good in those scenarios usually. And I think that's exactly kind of what we're going to start seeing here. Him just trying to utilize the fact that he's very good in these, you know, defensive positions where he just sort of sits back and lets his opponent potentially do the work. I think he's generally going to be, again, pretty happy and pretty okay. Just sort of saying, hey, you know, you do your thing. Show me what you got, bro. Show me what you got. They're going to keep on poking with the disruptors, and it can be so frustrating because it feels like you should be ahead enough to just end the game. But then Maru doesn't let you end the game, and you're like, no, Maru, play fair, bro. I said, yeah, it's my chance. You know, let me have my map win. So playing Maru is a different beast sometimes. As Maru on the offensive in the upper right-hand corner is going to come through. He's going to start knocking down pylons, batteries, cannons, and all sorts. So he's going to start having a very good time. You're not going to get rid of this base up here, so a little bit of control on the Protoss, which was generally getting a little bit out of hand, right? I think it's fair to say there was a lot of bases coming online from Trigger, so to actually shut one down as Maru is definitely not a bad thing. Just try and, again, make sure Trigger knows what kind of game we're playing. As Trigger sets up Stargates, Maru sets up Vikings and Thors. He is very accepting of where this kind of a game is going to go. He knows this is likely going to be a very Skytoss-focused game as well, so yeah, he's just aware, man. He knows what's up. He knows what's happening. I gotta say that Maru is just making the moves right now. Just have Disruptors trying to find a little bit of something. A couple Tempests, of course, can come and poke forward and start to chip through. Maybe a little bit of Maru from afar. Those Zealot run-bys actually do land themselves a siege tank kill as well, and that's also the kind of stuff that will add up a little bit throughout these early stages. Trigger just sits outside the front here, Maru. I don't think Maru is, like I say, in too much of a rush to do anything particularly crazy or anything. He just sort of defends, and if he sees a chance to maybe get a few units across the map, he will do exactly that. Just take a few units across the map and put them into play. Like I said, I just do not feel as though Maru is immediately feeling the need to put himself into a position where he tries to end this game or anything. He knows, again, he can play such a good game defensively. I remember a game played against Max Packs quite a while ago that was just, again, a very similar vein of just very defensive, very just holds on for such a long time, when Max Packs is obviously like so good at being everywhere, so good at controlling multiple armies, and just in general being all around the map. Maru just showed us just how excellent he can really be when left to defend and defend and defend against a Protoss player. I think what that map was. Which I don't have the Roddy Brain available to me, otherwise probably have it instantly, including the date it was played, but there's a couple of Disruptors just clipping SCVs again. That really feels like the majority of what the Disruptors have done so far, right? Like, oh, you clipped a couple of SCVs. Congrats, I guess, maybe. Tempests and Disruptors still chilling out on the bottom side of things here. This is obviously a bit of a standoff. Trigger even feeling good enough to start investing into some of that stack defense nearby with the cannons and the batteries and so on, just trying to really solidify this positioning. We're again in the top right, going to try and break down this space. This time feels like Trigger's a little bit better prepared for it though, so Maru does not find as much success as he did the first time around attacking into that top corner. This time around he was obviously gold and he did a lot. He denied the base, put a lot of work in. So just seeing these back and forths, man. You gotta try and keep on top of these if you are Trigger. Otherwise, Maru will be the one to start again, really just controlling the pacing of this game, really start controlling how it's gonna, you know, come out on the tail end. He's gotta be careful. He's lost 3 Tempests already, which feels like, you know, Tempest is a unit which is usually meant to stay alive until a much larger fight breaks out. It doesn't feel like we've had that larger fight. And yet a few Tempests have fallen. Again, just a way to... you know, something to keep on top of. Sorry, guys. I need a drink. I'm coughing. Excuse me. Sorry. But yeah, I feel like a few fights already that Trigger's maybe not being super efficient in, for example, right? And that's the sort of stuff I think we just got to be extremely careful of. As our ghosts will be coming through. And we actually do really start to push back and away at some of this setup that Trigger has had. This was where he's obviously being set up on the map and controlling this position. Oh, the disruptor shot is good though. There we go. Hey, Maru, maybe you need to look after your army a little bit, buddy. I'm out here telling Trigger to look after his. Let's be fair. Look after your own. Can't just go walking those ghosts up into the face of a disruptor, can we now? Things to watch out for is that's going to be the consistent duel here over TvP, of course. It is typically how this matchup goes at this stage when it's this kind of campy army. And let's see, another long game. It's got only 22 minutes deep here on Gresban. Maru, though, starting to make a little bit of progress around the map. Scan still coming down, trying to see a little bit more of what we can perhaps get up to, as we do have the Disruptors firing again. Disruptors not going to reach the siege tank there, unfortunately, so not quite going to be able to nab a hold of that one. And Maru's push is currently not being denied at all. The only damage output is the Disruptors, which are consistently missing, so Maru is just kind of having a wild old time. Absolutely no issue at all right now, just working his way through this. I think Maru's kind of loving this, actually. Just so he had a pretty bad position to work out of earlier, and now he's just really kind of controlling the game a little bit. Pushing on forward. Trigger is still rich, but like, he clearly doesn't quite know what he wants to do with it, because otherwise surely he would have started to spend at least a little bit of that by now. Right? Like, surely at least a little bit would have been used up. 9k, 3k. I mean, he could even just make sure he's got a lot of gateways ready for like a follow-up here or something. Could be a pretty big deal as well. There's a lot of options, honestly, that you can start looking towards at this stage of a game, I guess. More disruptor shots going towards some siege tanks. Ghost is going to sit there. EMPs onto the batteries already. A couple of disruptors will not quite connect for the moment. Trying to get the nuke onto the cannons and the batteries over there as well as best as possible, if at all possible. That's where the side defense gets rid of the base, and again, that's generally the goal a lot of the time here. So it gets rid of that. Obviously, the entire map is taken pretty much. Every single base has been taken by one side or the other. At least at some point. Obviously, right now, we've maybe got a couple of bases that were used that are being knocked down. We can catch some high-tech units in the middle of the map. Maru can only possibly be happy about that. That's going to be a beautiful little grab. Get some freebies, essentially. Units continue through, and we are knocking our way through a few more. Just, you know, pylons, another immortal that gets found. Just everything seems to be trouble for the moment for Trigger. Like, he cannot make a correct move to save his life. He has a ton of money, and he's rebuilding 4 carriers. So yes, you've got access to money. That doesn't mean you should just be giving up everything freely, right? And again, just Trigger having a tough time at the tail end of this game currently. Apparently, tail end is my favorite phrase today. I feel like I've said it so many times. But no, Trigger is just having a little bit of a tougher going as the game goes deeper. Nuke lines up. We do see the Stalkers coming forward. They will maybe be trying to trade themselves out a little bit. I'm not actually sure quite what the plan is there. Maybe just wants to improve the kind of units he has on the map, which isn't a crazy one. Not a crazy plan. It's going to be seeing this Nexus up here does go down as well, so that doesn't last too long or anything. More carriers on the way through. Nexus still being added on in. Or just really kind of being the one to always be killing the bases, though, at this point, right? Like, he always feels like he's the player making the moves. He's always the player that's getting a bit of damage done here, or a bit of damage done there. And again, this is the thing. That's why you don't count out Maru, because he can just slow the game down to a point where it's realistic enough for himself to recover. And that's exactly how he did it here on Grezvan. As now I do not really... I just don't believe in Trigger's army. Like, it doesn't feel like Trigger's army's done a lot in a long time. I know we're both maxed out. I know it's kind of just even in terms of numbers. I know Trigger has a huge bank, but... Oh, he's going to get all those ghosts, though, with those Storms. Vikings chasing now are kind of on their own. Did Maru get a little bit greedy there? He is going to get pretty much every carrier that was in this. I mean, it did cost him, you know, all the Vikings that he had made, so... And there's still some Tempest left over as well. I actually think Maru just gifted a lot of units away. And you know what? Maybe this is where Trigger does well, because Trigger has the money to rebuild. That was a massively great fight for Trigger. He traded almost twice as effectively as Maru did. That is absolutely huge. That is massive. And, well, you know, I'm saying I don't really believe Trigger's army's going to be able to get it done or anything. Well, yeah, that was just a straight-up mistake from Maru. That was not the correct way to play it. And I'll take my praise away from Maru. I'll give it back to Trigger. He has kept himself going, and for the moment he has put himself into at least another opportunity to try and, well, turn this advantage into a victory. He is up 200 to 140 supply. Again, that was a massive fight in Trigger's favor. It really helped out a whole bundle for sure. That's the income graph, as apparently Maru, I think, just dropped a whole chunk of mules into the game, so Terran just doing Terran things. Don't worry, guys. It's normal. Maru is slowly clawing his way back up the supply counters, but again, he didn't have the bank to work with initially, so not having had the bank makes this a little bit intriguing as well, right? Because, yeah, he's the one that had, you know, essentially less of a position to work from in the first place. Carriers and Tempest, etc. are going to start making a move through. Disruptors and Zealots are coming along for the ride. We saw a lot of, you know, Protoss bases being killed. Now it's going to be time to kill a Terran base off. Maru breaking into this position, which Trigger actually did own once upon a time, of course, as well. So there's been a battle for resources on this location. Trigger starts off kind of okay engaging, but it does feel as though he actually has to slow it down a little bit there, which is obviously not exactly what you're hoping for in that scenario. So not the best of moments, unfortunately, for Trigger again, is it's just such a struggle when you're playing against Maru, and I don't think anyone's going to blame you for having a struggle in this sort of scenario, because I'm sure pretty much every player that's played against Maru has probably felt like this at some point in time, where it's like, come on, man, like, I've won this game, right? Surely I've done enough to get ahead. And then he just refuses to die. He refuses to get out, which obviously is his absolute right to do so. But yeah, it's just so frustrating to play against. As you knock down a base up here, though, again, moves like that are the exact kind of moves you're looking for right now. As Trigger, so picking that one up quite nicely, is it's going to be the larger fight. Can Trigger actually hold out? Disruptor's hunting. Nearly gets a massive shot. The shot he got was still pretty reasonable. Oh man, the air army's dismantled once again, though, and now this is where you need to have the reinforcements, right? How many gates do we have? Like, it feels like Trigger's been rich enough to just have like an absolute ton of gateways. I would have loved to have seen him just like on like, you know, the instant rebuild of like 15, 20 Stalkers or something ridiculous, right? And then just instantly, boom, blink on top of these Vikings. Stop this chase. That's a good disruptor shot as Maru is chasing deep, but Trigger has so little supply in comparison. He's got the money, but it's going to start draining quickly if he's just warping into a never-ending trade. He's got to rebuild ground units as well. His entire air army has been reset. Vikings overhead, just going to be landing down. A couple of disruptors will go. I mean, obviously Vikings are pretty good if they can avoid the Zealots, and that should be fairly doable at the moment, as the Vikings are going to land again with a little bit of support. Maybe they can justify going into the Zealots. I guess if the Zealots jump on them, they just lift up and back away as well. Also works. Not a bad approach. Gets rid of the Disruptor. The Stalker still being chased around a little bit. Vikings and Bio continue through. Just for now. Spreading out, looking as though we're going to just send this one more time here, as we do have a scan ahead, a look to see what exactly is taking place. DTs are going to find the base in the bottom left-hand side, so that's going to be something Trigger's not really latched onto for a long time. DTs have kind of been a non-existent factor. That's the kind of thing which can really do so great for you in these kind of scenarios. And he's been rich as well. You know, I mentioned kind of what can Trigger do with all that money. Well, actually, DTs would have been such a perfect choice. That's exactly when you want to bring DTs into play. When you're so rich, you can afford to kind of throw them around the map. I know Maru is very defensive, but there had to have been some kind of opening that DTs could have been good on, right? Surely there wasn't just no way at all. Maybe that's something Trigger could have explored a little further earlier. And we are past the 30-minute marker. 2 back-to-back games with, well, 30-plus minutes on the timer. I say it's been a very fun day of World Team League here. In the final match of the regular season, Maru does have to lift up and back away. Trigger finds a hold. He finds the defense for the moment. The nuke coming down. The cannons are going to get hit. 26 probes going down, so Trigger is losing income. Again, so much of this game hasn't even been about income for him because he's already had the money, and now he actually does have to go back to mining and actually relying on what he is mining at any point in time to be okay here. $32,500 to $54,000 resources lost. The gas count lost is the same. So notably, just Trigger having lost so many more minerals in this game. And that's an issue as well if they do sort of mine out each side of the map. Trigger might have less access to remaining resources because of the way the trades have gone and the way this has happened. An expensive game then for Trigger, as we, I guess, kind of knew about. That shouldn't be news to us. Stalker's going to go after that planetary fortress. Zealots, DTs, I mean, these are great up until the point where they actually are kind of the main portion of the army, right? And if they ever become the main portion of the army in a fight, that could be extremely problematic. So, something for us to watch out for a little bit there as we do have disruptor shots coming in. Trigger kind of getting up in the top. Uh-oh. Trigger's a little bit stuck here. Maru's also found a disruptor top right that he might be able to kill. Neither player seems to have noticed that that was a opportunity there. Weirdly enough, as now the Vikings are going to land to actually trap this army in. They're going to get a lot of the Stalkers. The Disruptors die too. I guess that is also one way of doing it. Just going to jump on these Stalkers. The Disruptors getting EMP'd as well. That is going to be a little bit of pain right there. It's going to keep on adding up as we have our army of Maru maybe looking to be a little bit too large. Trigger's out of cash. Every single time we've seen him have a bad fight, he's had the money to back himself back up. That is finally not going to be the case, as I think we just have a little bit too much, my friends. On the side of Maru, he's going to hunt down the mothership, which shows up for... Did we see a mothership before now? I don't recall a mothership in this game, but maybe it's just been crazy enough that I forgot. Because it has been, obviously at this point, a long one. That is for sure. But yes, a mothership showing up as well, just to really add to everything else that this game has been about. And those DTs are going to get pushed around as well, so they're going to get bullied just that little bit extra. GG, says Trigger. He has to tap out after 35 minutes in the ring with Maru. Maru is just going to take a sip of water and be like, okay, well, I guess a lot of things didn't quite go to plan there, but as we are back into it, in the bottom left-hand side is Onsyde Gaming's Maru. Up against Trigger in the top right corner, and it's proxy time from Maru. 35 minutes. He didn't sign up for 35 minutes today. He's going to bring the SCV across the map, drop down the barracks, and get this one on the go. Basilisk undefeated, of course, 10-0. Have gone to the ace match a few times, however, so their score is actually not as good as the 9-1 Onsyde Gaming. Onsyde's only defeat this season coming to Dragon Kaisi, of course, when Oliveira got sent out in the ace match against Maru. Won that ace match. That was actually a pretty epic series. I missed that one. It's on my YouTube channel. At least the Maru Oliveira portion is. It was a lot of fun, actually. It was really quite great. Yeah. a good season of World Team League. Like I said at the start, I was like, man, I'm not going to get cast any of it because I've got so many other things going on, but we've made a pretty good go of it, I guess, in the end, and we've been able to cast a fair amount, all said and done. Been trying to keep on top of replays and catch up whenever needed as well. Just see bunker coming down, a little bit of setup getting going here. For our early few moments. Reaper hops back up to the high ground. A few probes are going to start pulling in. Reaper's going to have to take a little bit of a step back as we get in there for probe number 2. And that's a pretty good start already. Maru's shown us the power of this proxy bunker up. Something he can utilize to be annoying with now for a little while as well. Just move through, just going to get pushed back around, just going to get chased away for a little bit here. Pulls back to the top, back over to the left-hand side. Coming up, Reaper gets there, probe already going to start taking just a little bit of damage initially. Once again, just going to be seeing Maru kind of happy to just start controlling this game in these early stages, seemingly the way he wants to get set up at the very least. Clark's going to come back across, going to head towards that reactor here. A couple tech labs coming through. Ancient System really could be the kind of map that goes very similar to what we saw in the last game. It's a good map to defend your bases on his triggers, so it is maybe going to give him a similar kind of opportunity if that's what he has planned, if that's where he's comfortable, which I think a lot of the time is kind of generally where Trigger likes to be, for example, so. Bit of Mines Burrow up, probes pull away, Stalker's kind of coming through there as well. Well, that was kind of disgusting. That's just a massive Widow Mine drop that gets so much done. We saw Widow Mines do pretty well against Trigger last game as well, and he did kind of recover from that, of course. This is pretty early. 4.5 minutes, 10 workers going down is obviously a little bit too painful, perhaps, to actually recover from those. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that's going to be rough. I'm not going to say not possible to recover from, because I kind of said that once already, and I was obviously very incorrect about saying such a thing. So I will shush myself for the moment as the probes continue to mine. Raven's still coming around. Just going to be seeing our Robobay coming up as well. That's going to be Trigger's next step. Heading towards the Colossi/Disruptor opportunities. That sort of potential is going to be what he aims for, as we just have ourselves the barracks setting up. Going to be having our tech lab right there as well. Raven is trying to get this observer. Gets a couple of shots off on it. Going to get another couple of shots off on it. Doing alright with that for a couple moments. I'm just going to see a few Stalkers continuing down. To the bottom left, going to try and poke in a little bit. Bunker's already going to take a few shots of damage, for example. But a couple of Marauds can jump in. I can't imagine Trigger's going to do too much else there. Maru only 5 workers behind after that worker damage done early with the Widow Mine drop. If it comes in, oh, nice little probe in the wall there is going to block, and the Stalker blink as well, guaranteeing a save on that probe right now. You kind of just got to take every single probe, you know, save that you can get. Every probe is going to count so much for you. So it's actually quite important that we do as much as possible in that situation to protect ourselves. Stalkers finding some value. If Maru wants to move out, there's already a few units lost, so that's going to be adding up a little bit as well. And all these little bits and pieces do add up as, again, a couple of Marines going down, the tanks and the bio units continue to press forward. The medevacs are going to come boosting across. Into the main base we go. Raven to join in. First few probes already starting to drop down. The Nexus here likely going to begin dropping as well. As we Matrix the Colossus so we can kill the Robo facility, stopping further Colossi from coming out. That's definitely one way to do this. In the middle of the map, the Zelds are going to kind of meet these couple of tanks, though there's not enough bio to really protect us here. That's probably the biggest problem of this at the moment. A little bit of bio and a couple of tanks going to continue to put some damage out. Just going to see the tanks taking just a little bit more damage again. Somehow Maru able to maintain this army in the middle of the map. It kind of felt like he was going to get overrun there a little bit, and that was the one part of his attack that was maybe not going to quite go so prettily for him, but turned out it was pretty okay. Not such a big issue at the end of the day then. This army kind of passes by. The medevac should have definitely been able to see the Colossi there, so we jump through. Medevac takes a shot but will not die just yet. A couple of tanks to maybe set up. Let's see how this fight goes. A few SCVs will pull in, so Maru's a little bit afraid of this, maybe especially because he was a bit out of position to start us off with as well. Could be a factor. So Stalker's trying to come through. What mine actually goes towards the Bioforce, so that's not going to do too much. As Trigger really trying to find the opportunity here. He's actually down a set of upgrades though as well. So down 1-1 obviously doesn't. Yeah, down 1-1 doesn't necessarily help you as we actually do commit though. SCV's pulling again. Maru very serious every time Trigger commits in. The SCV's trying to tank. He's got a lot of Marauders. They can actually close the distance on one Colossus. Now we're just going to keep on chasing. Colossus number 2 does just about keep away. The Zealots, the Stalkers are getting jumped on top of. I think we've got ourselves a chase down here that is successful enough for Maru, especially if he gets this Colossus, the Order Turret, target fire, the Colossus, he gets it with the Order Turret. Observer just went down as well on the retreat because of the Raven vision provided. My goodness, that was also kind of a wild couple of moments, wasn't it? As it's going to be seen that Bioforce is going to continue to push on through now. And across the map we go. Widowmine's burrowing up over here. We'll activate onto the couple of Zealots. Now there's only Stalkers, and Stalkers really do not last too long in these kind of situations, as our Bio is going to do very well at continuing to push on by. GG says Trigger, and Maru does get himself a 2-0 over Trigger in the end. But that first game, man. By the way, I love Maru showing up wearing 6G. Bottom right corner, our blue Zerg from Onsyde Gaming is Solar. And the top left, our red Zerg, Serral. Yes, guys, Onsyde Gaming are guaranteed first place just because it's going to an ace match. There's no other way that this can go. That looks like a face. Am I crazy? Like eyebrows, eyes, mouth? I've never noticed that on my life on Dragon Scales. What the hell? That looked like a face, no? What the hell is going on? There's the Discord logo. You guys see the face? Good to know it's not just me. I'm going mad. You guys are going mad. I'm not mad, you're mad. Seems to be coming up on both sides. A couple queens coming through as we get up and running. In the first few moments still. Next week comes up, a few drones coming in, hatching either side of the map. Ling's gonna go, kind of going around the other side, gonna nibble at each other there. 16 Lings reducing through in the ZVZ. Of course, we expect to see a Ling Bane face. Solar actually recently, though, has bypassed the Bane nest a lot in favor of an immediate Roach Roaring. And that's what he's doing here. That means he generally does want to be the aggressor. You want to be the one fighting on your opponent's side of the map so that you can deal with Banelings as they come to the other side, for example, usually. So we've seen a few Lings going to come out here from Serral to defend the first few Lings coming through. He's built the Lings necessary, I think, to be okay in this. I do not think he's going to be having too many troubles as Baneling goes off, catches a few Lings as well. Seven roaches, 8 roaches on the way. Solar is just going to send it. If he's making 8 roaches already, there's no way this is not just going to be a committed all-in, of course. 28 drones. Like I say, it looks as though he is absolutely just going to send this. And this is going to be our current starting point of this matchup. Will it be enough for Solar to break on through on the other side? As we get everything up and rolling here, just going to be seeing a few roaches. Would love to start getting across the map. The Lings are going to counterattack, going to buy Serral some time, and that's going to be what Serral plans to do here. Just buy as much time as possible. The more time you can buy, the better time you're going to have, most likely. That seems to be the game plan. That seems to be the game plan. It's not a bad one. We've seen a few Lings. Going to continue across for a couple of moments. Going to be seeing the Roach, the Banes, etc. all coming through for just a moment or so here. Roach run coming up, the Banelings on the way out. In the end, Solar never got across the map kind of in time to do anything, right? So now, he just droned, but Serral made a lot of Lings, and now Serral's on like a massive Lings and a few Banes. He's going to actually try and send this, I think. I think he realizes that this could be an opportunity for him to do very well for himself. So let's see what we do as I think Bane works on down. The Roach is going to split apart a little bit. They kind of want to be stacked up and in some corners to help against the Ling surrounds. This is obviously Solar, I think, getting caught a little bit off guard, and he's realizing it right now. He's got a few more Roaches coming up, but there's a ton of Banelings still to be dealt with, and they are going to go blasting through mineral lines. The Roaches on the low ground have survived this. Serral has to get 13 workers to even up the workers count at the moment. He's still spamming Zerglings, the Banes, into the main base now. We're starting to see those drones of Solar dying. And of course, Solar's just split up everywhere. As he spawns Roaches here, there, and everywhere, he's obviously not going to be in too pretty of a position either. That's also going to create some issues for him. And that definitely seems to be where the problem is going to lie, as Solar does not have enough. Serral is going to take the first game. A Ling Bane all-in to follow up and counter the kind of the Roach Ling all-in. As these two all-ins kind of clash heads. What if they win or lose? Basilisk would still go undefeated if they end up second. Okay, so slowly is hanging on to hopes and dreams. That means nothing. Okay, I mean, the undefeated season is kind of cool. That just means that they had to win a lot of ace matches because their points are so low for being undefeated. I mean, if they go undefeated, the max points would be 33. They would have 29, which means they went to 4 ace matches. It's kind of a lot of ace matches, honestly. For a team that's, you know, set out to be so dominant. Hatchery goes down on both sides of the map. Let's see what happens. Game number 2. Sola made sure it was a fast one last time because he set up to be the aggressor initially, which I believe is what instigated Serral to become the aggressor on the follow-up. Let's see something similar here this time. Actually, we know what, Sola, you're right. It would be great if Basilisk won 11-0. Because then we could talk about it when they get knocked out in the 3rd place match. The undefeated team can't even get into the finals. Ah! I'm just teasing slowly. Look, someone has to be team Onsyde here, right? Because Roddy's streamer sure is team Basilisk right now. Roddy crank ace match. I mean, they actually could if they really wanted to. Can you imagine? They're like, okay, Roddy crank ace match, go. And then they send out Roddy, and Onsyde send out Maru. That would be amazing. That would actually be amazing. And Roddy wins. Okay, guys. You guys need to calm down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Feelings continue to move around just for the moment as we continue along, and just going to be seeing our game set up in fairly similar fashion. 3rd hatch apiece. Baneling Nest is quicker here for Serral than it is for Solar, and Solar might just bypass the Bay Nest altogether a 2nd time around. Let's try and be that little bit greedier getting going. So yeah, it's just suddenly see Solar just kind of bypassing. It's going to go in very quick Evo Chamber. We'll see what he does on the back of this Evolution Chamber then. The Ling's going to come clashing against each other. A little bit of damage being done. And there's the Rotron from Solar, kind of as we expected. So I guess no surprises on that one. Well, Banes continuing out for the moment here. Continue to get this set up. Ling's, Banes continuing through. He's going to get rid of the hatcher on the bottom side. Solar's just going to lose out on this immediately. Serral already being aggressive successfully with these Lings. The Roach is on the way from Solar. This is not exactly going super well. Just yet. Solar really kind of was expected to have some Roaches here to help, but Serral's aggression just kind of hitting him before Solar can even get going. Does Solar just have to like counterattack all in now? Because he's lost the hatchery especially. That feels very bad for him. If you counterattack all in, Serral knows exactly what's happening. You see Solar actually does start a couple of drones at least, so he's not going to be committing to the attack. But then, I mean, put it this way, I don't love it either way. Because now you're droning up again, you know, with no 3rd hatchery. Your opponent has pretty much every advantage over you. You've got a Carapace upgrade coming through, that's your lead. Maybe we do something just off the Carapace then, but I feel like the preparation of Serral is going to be huge, especially with a hatch advantage. It's going to be extremely tough to stop this. from going your opponent's way. Let's see a few more lings. Continue to gather up together for a little bit here. And being as that roach is gathering up, a few roaches going to go pressing through the center as well, trying to see what we can do. Bane's crashing in, Roach is going to start taking some damage. As I said before, I don't think this attack's necessarily going to work for Solar, but I don't think there's really anything else you can really try and do. It's just going to be GG's, that's going to do it for this one. And Cyril is going to give us the ace match. Good guy, Cyril. Giving us the 7th game today. Whoa! Actually going to game. GG, good luck. Says... Bad game, well, okay, first of all, bad game, bad luck from Crank. As in the top left, Red Pearl says Rotterdam. Into the ace match. Away we go. Pylon goes down. Probe set up. You get this started in the first few moments here. Looking to see what we can do. Probe and the pylon coming in from both at the moment. Just going to be seeing our probe coming out to the front as well. Trying to see a little bit of what's going on. His camera's being so compressed. I think that's because he's using a second camera because he has a certain camera for his stream and then a second camera for when he does stuff like this at the same time, right? I would guess. No Cyril versus Maru ace match? No, they let the real champions of StarCraft play the ace match. You're going to get this epic PvP between Crank and Rotterdam. Rotterdam with the classic no wall-off opening because he doesn't believe in the wall-offs. Now, he has explained this to me before. What I understood is I'm not quick enough in this old age to actually wall off if Adept shade up my ramp, so I may as well just not do it. But then my buildings aren't exposed if they cheese me. That wasn't quite word for word how Roddy explained it to me, but that's pretty much the the translation I got from what he said. So really, it's quite smart not to wall off against the Adept, because if you know you're not going to be, quick enough and agile enough to, it's good to know your own weaknesses, right? It's good to know your own weaknesses. Crank, no respect, by the way. Nexus down. I think Roddy might one base him, actually. As we do drop down the Stargate. Roddy does like a bit of Phoenix Immortal in this matchup, of course, something we could see. As we have our couple of Adepts still popping on out. Stargate coming up on both sides of the map, getting this underway. We'll be having ourselves the Nexus coming through, the Stargate coming up, Adept is on the way through for the moment. So a lot of getting set right here. As our Nexus is going to be done, and Crank is just going to go Stargate of his own. I wonder if he tries to play Mass Phoenix versus Phoenix Immortal. Does Mass Phoenix win against Phoenix Immortal? I think so, right? Because Immortals would not exactly be very useful, would be my guess. And then there's more, if you lose the Phoenix fight, basically you lose the game. The Adepts here from Rotterdam will shade forwards, and the Stalkers are going to catch these, so that's going to be at least one of those killed off as long as Crank micros responsibly. So one Adept already going down. Crank with a good hold against that as Crank is cranking out an Oracle. Already still one base. Phoenix, Robo. Like I say, Phoenix Immortal, no Warp Gate is his choice. It is his setup. That's what he's choosing to opt on into right now. Nexus in the middle of the map, says Roddy. Thank you very much. Gonna just rock around with that apparently, so that's gonna be his plan here. And there's a couple Stalkers coming across, the Phoenix coming through. Just getting set for a couple of moments. We do have ourselves the Phoenix is chilling out in the middle for a little bit. Getting that set and running. As our couple of Devs continue by as well. Gonna find a probe in the middle of the map. Frank still knowing where these Phoenix, knowing where the Adepts are. And Frank, what's his plan? He's going to start going for a Twilight Council. So he went for the Stargate, he built an Oracle that has slipped around the left side of the map. Is there a battery on this mineral line? Yes, okay, that's going to be huge. That means that this will not do too much, although we're going to stasis ward. He gave him a heads up by attacking first, though. Already is going to get 3 probes caught, but that isn't obviously too major of an issue compared to what this could have been. This Oracle is not going to be all that effective as it gets turned back around, and is actually going to get chased down and killed, so Oracle will die. Crank up 10 workers, though. Roddy will make up a little bit of that by being able to take this rich Vespene gas. That is obviously going to be a helping hand for him, so we'll see if that's enough to make a true difference. This is still just coming in and... oh. Like I say, that rich Vespene gas will help him to mine a little bit more. So that gives him like +3 workers. So he'd still be behind by about 8 workers of economy right now. Immortal on the way from Roddy. He's also getting his Warp Gates. He's not just going to be on Phoenix Immortal. There will be additions to this as Frank plays into the blink for the moment. Phoenix looking for and getting rid of at least a single probe. He is just going to be able to grab that to start us out. Again, Phoenix Immortal continuing through. The Stalker still coming out as well. Our robotics facility is about halfway done. $47 mate. How you doing? Thank you so much for the 78-month resub. Welcome back. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for the resub. As our Phoenix Immortal production continues from Roddy. Frank obviously with the Blink Stalkers, but now also moving into the... yeah, Blink Stalkers are also moving into his own Robo, so we'll see what exactly he wants to do off the back of that. Over these next few moments, there's obviously going to be a couple of choices to be made as our Immortals clunk through the set of rocks. Stalker's coming through, going to grab one Phoenix already as well. He's just going to nab that straight away. Again, just having ourselves a few of these Stalkers being lifted up, so they're not having a great time getting lifted up into the sky, and, well, that is exactly what Roddy wants to do to try and win these fights. Roddy has the army supply advantage, and he is going to try and utilize that with this push on forward. Trying to bully just a little bit at the moment. Crank going to cut off a reinforcing Stalker. Not a bad start. Not a bad start. Roddy's still kind of controlling the area out the front, and right now it doesn't feel as though Crank can get enough up to really deal with this, so having a couple of issues at this point in time. The Immortal's actually going to really clunk at the front. Crank trying to hold back. He just doesn't want to fight until he's got a little bit more up and running, but I don't know what he's going to get for himself. This massive economy lead is great and all, but he actually needs to get in and, like I say, get something done. Right now he just doesn't have much of anything at all, as Roddy can lift up some of the important units of the Phoenix as well, take them out of the equation before things even really get going. Stalkers blink forward. They're going to get rid of a couple of the Immortals, perhaps. We need to get rid of the other one, though. I feel like if the Immortal is left alive, that's going to be too much damage output. As Crank gets chased, and he can probably get the Immortal here. The Phoenix quite low on energy, which means they're kind of wasted supply at the moment. The reinforcing gateway comes in. Crank pushes all the way forward. Is this too far? I think so. Phoenix lift the herd Immortal. That will go down in an instant. Doesn't last very long at all. And Crank maybe just going a little bit too far forward. Roddy still on that army supply lead. And again, as his Phoenix gets some energy back, it should turn into a bit of a nicer situation for him all over again. That should help him out massively, in fact, the deeper into this that we go. Void Ray now on the way from Crank as well. Not sure how hot that's going to do with all the Phoenix up in the sky, though. That's definitely a little bit of a question mark to be asked. Stalkers are here, turn things around for the moment. This is going to be another dive in from Roddy, just believing he can break on through. The couple of Voiders will get to work then. If we actually knock down any of these Phoenix, it feels like some of them are so low. Probes are pulling in from Crank as well. He can lose 10 more workers and still be okay in terms of numbers. If he loses his Phoenix, he's going to lose the Immortal. The Probes are on their own. That's obviously not exactly ideal, although there's actually one Immortal still on the ground. That's actually doing quite a bit. It's just never going to be an answer to these Phoenix, I feel like. Because Crank just could never get the army up that he needed to really deal with this. And I think, my friends, that means we're probably going to have ourselves game, set, and match all wrapped up right here. Going to be having Crank hanging on in for the very last few moments, but I can't imagine that this is going to start going any differently here in the next couple of minutes. This one really does look as though it's going to be done and friends dusted. Going to be seeing the Immortals going out, just going to go smashing through these couple of pylons as well. Knock those down. Roddy completely owning the natural. Crank. Basilisk are going to be undefeated. Undefeated second place in the group stage, though, because, again, they went to so many ace matches where Onsyde did not. Onsyde really got the job done early each and every match. Again, Basilisk had to go to the ace, send out Cyril a few times over. That's Roddy. He's going to win this. It really felt like Crank was on his way to a good position, though. Like, I really felt as though he was going to be kind of okay, if I'm going to be honest. Just had to kind of find just a few more moments of time to, you know, buy himself a few more moments of time, probably. Alright, well, like I say, we are a few moments away from just getting this wrapped up. Frank apparently is going to refuse to leave this game until the absolute bitter end. We refuse to just go. Is Roddy 100% win rate? No, he lost a couple times in the regular season. Crank trying to make something happen on the backside. The Phoenix is going to lift up everything, and well, the Stalker's not going to be able to make any difference at all right there, so that doesn't really achieve anything in that regard. And that is going to be GG's. Roddy takes it down. Yeah, has the captain logo. Good job, Roddy. The biggest of victories for Rotterdam today. Bringing it in and taking on Basilisk all the way from second place in the group stage to